When I was younger, and the world was younger, and our spirits were younger, I lived in the mystical land of Vrindavan, which I suppose was too is younger, though really it's an ageless place. This is a city of magnificent temples, sadhus and sages, rich and colorful history, saintly widows, monkeys. At the time, no cell phones or computers. But most important, it was the home of Krishna, his friends, his family, and his loved ones. I was charged with saving the ancient Vaishnav libraries, libraries filled with musty old books, all but forgotten tombs that contain deep and esoteric passages of spiritual history and wisdom. In one such library belonging to the late Pran Krishna Baba, it seemed that all the books were far too damaged by time or a lack of proper care to be salvageable. I was prepared to abandon the collection, but then I saw one book lying on the floor apart from the rest. I immediately picked it up, knowing that regardless of its title or current condition, no such sacred book should lie on the floor. To my amazement, it was in near perfect condition. I turned the cover and glanced at the first page. Hari Lila Prakash, 17th century, scribe by Sri Damodar Bahulanath. I've never heard of the author, but as I read on, I found his claims and insights remarkable. He claimed to be a 17th century descendant of one of Krishna's most intimate associates, Vasant. He claimed to be his that's Vasant's great grandson, and so on. Hari Lila Prakash is a beautiful story of Krishna and Vasant and the beautiful surroundings of the Vrindavan forest. My friends, my hands were shaking. The hairs on my neck were standing on end. I realized I was holding a precious jewel. It was almost if the book wanted me to find it. Among the most fascinating aspects of Hari Lila Prakash is an excerpt found in the appendix entitled Sri Krishna Lila, A Reasonable Conception of Divinity. It seems like Damodar's lifelong concerns was that the pastimes of Krishna would be thought of as mythological or mundane, and thus the deep spiritual import would be lost. Listen to his ideas. I think you'll find them significant. All of us are seeking pleasure, and our greatest pleasure is found in pure, unmotivated love. If pure love is our guiding and universal principle, then why should it not be part of its source, the ultimate reality? As pure love entails a mutual exchange, then the one harmonious truth must have a type of discrimination within. There must be personality, beauty, and other qualities to enhance the flow of love. This flow of love is known as Shakti, or energy, and like all energy, devoted to bringing pleasure to its source. Thus, the Vaishnav conception of reality is divine Lila, a drama that staged the perfect expression of love, an exchange of devotion between the source of all energies, Sri Krishna, and the supreme Shakti, Sri Radha. My friends, I felt like weeping. Such a deep concept, but explained in such simple and easily understandable terms. I now understood why the great Vaishnav teachers thus speak of rasa, the height of divine love, as that which one appreciates gradually belongs to one. By hearing these divine leelas, pastimes, the same pure divine love enters into one's heart. Sri Damodar continues, and just as love and pleasure to be appreciated to its fullest requires a variety of loving exchanges, why should not friendship, parental affection, and the love of secret and intimate dalliance why should it not exist in its pure sense in the divine realm? I should explain for those of you who don't know, Krishna is a beautiful cowherd boy that takes care of his father's cows. This job afforded him the opportunity to share his experience with other boys that were occupied, to deeply befriend, actually, other boys that were occupied with the same task. They would gallivant all over the forest of Vrindavan, playing in the fields, resting in the trees, and sharing wonderful meals on the bank of the Jamuna River. But in Vrindavan, like any place else, there are just people that are opposed to even a smallest pinch of pure love. Demons. But if you think about it, aren't the challenges to love rise that affection to the highest degree? Did you ever fear the loss of a loved one? Wasn't it at that time that the sentiments of love reached its heights? That's why I'm so excited to share this with you. For Hari Lila Prakash tells the stories of the most pure and perfected love. I think we have time for just maybe one. One day, the waters of the Jamuna were visited by a multi-headed serpent named Kaliya. He was poisoning the water with the stench and fumes emanating from his hideous body, causing anyone drinking or even visiting to immediately die. But beautiful, oh beautiful Krishna would not stand for such a travesty, for the demon was threatening the home and livelihood, the welfare and livelihood of his friends, his home, and his well-wishers. Therefore, Krishna decided to take the matter into his own hands, and in doing so caused unimaginable anxiety for the residents of Vrindavan who loved Krishna more than their very life. Imagine how they felt. No, don't imagine, just hear. It would not be proper for me to keep the insights of Sri Damodar Bahulanath to myself. Let's hear a first-person account by a witness that day to the beautiful feats of Krishna on the bank of the Jamuna. Listen carefully, for one who hears these divine Leelas with attention and respect, the same love comes into their hearts. I'm going to read now. Damodar Bahulanath writes, upon returning home late one day from the forest, after Krishna's horrifying and then glorious struggle with the Kaliya serpent, I, Vasant, approached my worried mother with her arms crossed and a stick in her hand.
Mother! 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 I've just seen the most amazing... Oh, yes, I know I'm late, but there's something... I know I made you worry, but it's not... Oh, okay, you're right, it's my fault, but there's something... No, I didn't do it on purpose. Mother! Mother! It's about Krishna! Yes, my friend Krishna was in trouble, and so were the rest of us. Well, my friends, that is. Well, but then Krishna wasn't in trouble, and then neither were we. Promise you'll listen without punishing me, Mother? We were out in the fields taking care of the cows. While we walked, we were saying how glad we were that Krishna and Balaram had dealt with those nasty demons in the Talavan forest. Now all the delicious fruit were ripe to be picked, and the poor innocent animals no longer needed to be afraid, and we were so happy. What's that, Mother? Why am I late? Right. Well, with the warm sun shining so brightly, and after walking so far and working so hard, we became very thirsty. Krishna told us to follow him to the Yamuna, so we fell in step behind him, watching his feet leave perfect imprints in the dust and grass. When we reached the Yamuna, our throats were so parched that we drank and drank, and what we hadn't noticed was the water was, well, poisoned. I know, Mother, it sounds terrible, but I'm alive now. Not that I was dead before. At least I don't think so. I know, it sounds confusing, but all I know is after I drank the water, I began to feel very funny. The next thing I know, the other boys were clutching at their throats and falling to the ground. My head began to ache. My body felt very weak. I was gasping for air. I felt my life slipping away moment by moment. And just as my eyes closed, for what I thought was the last time, I felt a warmth flowing through my body, filling my heart with love. I opened my eyes, and Mother, I was staring directly into Krishna's smiling face. The pain was nowhere to be found. All worry and fear had left me. I looked around. The other boys were no longer writhing on the ground. They looked as happy and surprised as me. We knew that somehow Krishna had saved us from the poisoned water. But better than not being dead, Mother, was waking to Krishna's smiling face greeting me. If only all moments of awakening were filled with such a happy sight. Always our protector, always our best friend. No, that's not the end of the story, Mother. It gets better. Do you want to hear the rest? You very much want me to continue? Oh, I'm so glad. Does this mean I'm not in trouble? I didn't think so. This next part is scary, Mother. We looked into the water to see if we could find what had made it so deadly. The most horrifying image. A giant, many-headed serpent swirled in the Yamuna, its skin as black as night, its eyes as red as flame, and clouds of poisonous nightmares spewing from its nostrils. I shook with fear, rooted to the spot. The lush grass around the Yamuna had become so foul, and it was turning brown and brittle, and the very life was being sucked out of the trees. I saw a bird flying overhead towards the banks of the Yamuna. I called out a warning, "Turn back!" But it was too late. As soon as it flew into the poisonous clouds, it fell down, dead. Tears welled up in my eyes. This beast was destroying Vrindavan, her beautiful home. I looked at my friends. Their faces said they felt the same as me. Except Krishna. He looked angrier than I have ever seen him, and so determined. I didn't know what he intended to do, but already his bravery was lessening my fear. I could see in his face he was thinking, "Serpent, how dare you poison these waters? How dare you harm the beauty of this spot, where so often I have rested with my friends in these soft grasses that you have turned to ash, enjoyed the sweet fragrances that you have laid to waste. How dare you harm the land and people of Vrindavan?" Krishna strode forward and climbed one of the dead kadamba trees. When he reached the top, he tightened the cloth of his belt, as if he was about to do something that required his full effort. Then he waved his arms like this. My friend Krishna looked so brave and powerful, I felt like cheering, Mother. Then Krishna jumped into the water. Oh, but I see other people have come to listen to my story, Mother. My words have attracted the saintly souls of Vrindavan. But these men and women, young and younger, they were all there at the Yamuna. They can say whether my story is true. Which reminds me, why were you not at the Yamuna, Mother? A calf was injured by a piece of rock falling from the sky. I know you were overcome with grief and worry, Mother, but taking care of the cows is one of our most important duties. I know why the rock fell, Mother. Yes, because it seemed Krishna was in great danger. When Krishna jumped into the water, he created a splash so large it was like a mighty tidal wave. We ducked away from the poisonous boiling water, and for a moment we couldn't see the Yamuna or anything in front of us until the water cascaded down across the surrounding land. But when we could see again, the Kadamba tree that Krishna had jumped from, the one I promised was dead, was now very much alive and blossoming with yellow flowers. Krishna swam in the water towards the many-headed serpent, slapping the water with his arms and calling out to the demon with such a mighty roar. I might have covered my ears from the deafening sound had it not reminded me of the most beautiful music coming from Krishna, so like the songs he would sing while strolling through the forest, accompanied by a symphony of birds. The serpent became enraged. But how could you be angry at Krishna? With such wondrous melodies filling the air, when his playing in the water made him glisten like a cloud in his yellow silken garments, when his sportive smile was a reflection of his pure heart. The serpent cared for none of this, and he struck at Krishna like lightning, biting him in the chest and wrapping him in his coils. I immediately called out in grief. I fell to my knees. The cows began to wail. The earth shook, and pieces of flaming rock fell from the sky. Could Krishna be dead? Oh, Krishna! Soon all the residents of Vrindavan gathered at the Yamuna, each demanding to know what had become of Krishna, but I was so shocked I couldn't speak. Mother Yashoda tried to run into the festering and boiling water, but the other women caught her, and in desperation she fainted in their arms. The only words that could comfort her were the triumphs of Krishna. I have never seen a more piteous sight, Mother. My heart breaks to think of her pain as she watched Krishna's limp body being crushed in the serpent's coils. Nanda Maharaj and the other men also tried to run into the water, but Balaram stopped them in their tracks. All around, the residents of Vrindavan were in fits of lamentation. I wish there was something I could do to save Krishna. But I was hopeless. Then, as Balaram pushed the men back from the water, I noticed his face. And how strange, Mother. While the rest of us wept and called out to Krishna, he was smiling, as if he knew all would be well. The gopis' faces said they now saw the world as vacant without Krishna. Looks of despair so heavy, I never wish to see such pain again. And Balaram smiled. I'm not joking when I say I felt like my life was ending, Mother. Without my friend Krishna, I wouldn't want to be alive. Balaram smiled. Soon I saw why. For an eternity, I prayed for someone to save Krishna. Then, when all the residents of Vrindavan were present, Krishna freed himself from the serpent's coils. The great beast tried to bite him with his fangs as sharp as daggers, his flaming nostrils like cauldrons of boiling hatred. But Krishna began circling around, so agile, so swift. I saw the serpent begin to tire, and then, oh wonder of wonders, in a single leap, Krishna jumped to the top of the serpent's hoods. I gasped in amazement, my breath caught in my throat. Krishna, the true artist that he is, began to dance on the serpent's heads. The rays of the sun shone through the jewels on the serpent's heads, making Krishna's feet appear glowing red as he ducked and span, leapt and twirled, his lotus feet moving so fast no one could ever hope to dance in such a way. Suddenly, the sound of music could be heard. The heavenly musicians, certainly pleased with the beauty of Krishna's dance, hoped to increase its wonder. I was awestruck, but it felt like watching a disturbed mind, saying it still had power, that it wasn't defeated, when Krishna's dancing feet had destroyed any hope of its survival. We could see from the shore that the beast was becoming exhausted, for from its mouths came blood and poison and even fire, but still the dance went on. Krishna's dancing feet would knock down each hood so fast it appeared the snake was bowing down before Krishna. And the pools of blood and poison began to appear like garlands of flowers being offered at Krishna's feet. The serpents' wives came forward, with their garments and jewels all a mess, as they rushed in their distress, praying to Krishna to please have mercy on their demon husband. Their prayers were so sad and heartfelt, Mother. I couldn't help but take pity on them. They begged that their demon husband must have had many lifetimes of piety if he now had Krishna's lotus feet upon his head. And I thought that the most beautiful prayer. Krishna stopped his dance. He ordered the serpent to leave at once and never again poison the waters of Yamuna, never again return or harm the animals, residents of Vrindavan. There were cheers from the onlookers. I wept tears of joy. Krishna had saved our home, but was also safe from harm. The relief. What would any of us do if we lost Krishna? So, you see, Mother, it was out of concern for my very best friend I was unable to come home. I've never seen a more amazing sight than Krishna's serpent dance. I hope you will forgive me, Mother, and I will tell this story over and over again forevermore.